Well, hello everyone. So, earlier today, I saw the Fantastic Four First Steps, the latest reboot of the long-running franchise, and the first to formally bring the team into the Marvel Cinematic Universe as, as part of Phase 6, and taking place in alternate timeline in Earth 828, in case you're wondering. The film is directed by Matt Shackman of WandaVision, and also was co-written by several alumni from the show, including Jack Schaefer, and definitely managed to show the whole futuristic 60s influence there. And it is easily, after the admittedly somewhat enjoyable cheese fests of the Corman in '94 film and the Tim Story duology in the 2000s, as well as the whole food of the last reboot a decade ago, it seems they finally cracked the code as like that meantime I will go finally a good Fantastic Four movie. So let's begin. There's not going to be any coming attractions tonight. I'm going to be posting them on my community tab this week instead. But this definitely will have plenty to talk about. So the movie takes place much like the original comics in the 1960s. He's as a parallel to the space race, so to speak. As Reed Richards, played by Pedro Pascal, and Susan Storm, played by Vincent Kirby, expecting their first child together, alongside Susan's brother Johnny and Ben Grimm. Earth is marked for destruction by Galactus, played by Ralph Ineson, and a variant of the Silver Surfer, acting as his herald with this one, and, and definitely being a unique variant. It's I'm not. I definitely looked up which one is who this variant really is as I was researching this movie, and I'll admit, despite all the foo I heard online, it checks out. Besides, to me, anything I would have had to feel about this using this variant was more or less canceled out by the just finding out that Galactus was not going to be a miasma space gas, and even more interestingly, even though there is some digital assists going on there, they actually did build a real practical costume, and have Ralph Ineson do something of suit nation as well. Well, and they actually did a really good job of scaling it. Like a lot of the, even though, it's another version where the thing is going to be CG. I actually like the way they went with the design. Like even something like the unibrow looks like it came right out of one of the original comics, some of the original Jack Kirby drawings, even. Then where, and the whole idea of the balanced optimism and being able to have each other's backs even in the face of impossible odds is definitely something I think we could all use right now. A simple but effective one, and they actually went into all the pitfalls and the high points like I thought they were, of it being using ideas from the proposed pitch that Peyton Reed had in mind before he directed the Ant-Man trilogy, where they actually had him already be active for a while, at least 4 years by the time of the events of the movie itself. And they do show the origin story, but they don't actively focus on it. On it like the previous incarnations did. They're you're basically right in there with them on late night TV. And oh yes, they definitely go through a lot of the rogues gallery. I won't say how, but yes, they do find a way to work in the mole people, especially their leader, Harvey Elder, who is deliciously played by Paul Walter Hauser. And they got a lot of good performers in here that I've enjoyed for a long time, and given its placement in the franchise current canon, as well as the hints that there's going to be like a reboot of the timeline at some point, and after the multiverse saga is done, actually bodes pretty well. As does the idea of having the Fantastic Four and this new version of reboots in particular being like the new anchor, being after her Tony was the big one of the Infinity Saga, and also oh how they actually introduced that concept in Deadpool and Wolverine a year ago, and I still kind of like the idea. I'm not sure whether they're actually going to go forward with it. That Tony's role in doing Decimation Snap was actually connected to him becoming Doom somehow, and I also really like the visual presentation of the film and other areas as well, like how they actually built a lot of the material, like how to portray a New York City doesn't exist anymore, and a bunch of otherworldly elements never existed at all. Well, I mean, their spacecraft have actually looks a lot like it does in the comics, having massive fast and light travel decades ago. I especially like how they don't go for the usual Stargate, and they also have actually looking at the fact that space time is curved, especially when the Sorcerer was trying to chase them back to Earth, and they had to factor in the going through space and through time. That's and because what is moments for them is a month for Surfer and Galactus, which will give them some time to be ready to face them. And if I may offer a slightly hot take here, that this variant of Susan Storm might be my favorite one to committed to celluloid of the movies that's gotten theatrical release, where in terms of how that she's as well rounded and intelligent and capable as the other members of the team, and is all the more interesting for it. I mean, being like being taking the initiative, of like how she's willing to balance her role as like a spouse and mother, as well as being like a superhero and scientist, but also how she's in more ways willing to move heaven and earth to protect her planet and the newborn Franklin. And I had to think about how I would power scale all the different versions of Susan there's been over the years, but I would say I will put this one on near her at the top. I would definitely not be out of place seeing her in a future Marvel vs. Capcom game we released and her Marvel Rivals. Where and I still maintain this as I'm open to Noir and Rad showing up in a future installments moments going forward. I mean, whether or not they bring back Lawrence Fishburne or cast someone completely new, I welcome it. And also, even with Herbie's character, even someone who's normally not a huge fan of that robot, they really nailed how to make it work. Actually, even having like the face be like a reel to reel tape. Where, and also the idea that it's actually a practical on set effect where think the draw something like some of the droids in Star Wars Saga, like R2D2 and more recently BB-8, not too far off the mark. And it does seem to be the direction we've been heading for the last 10 years since Fury Road and Force Awakens, where digital effects are still used for things like compositing and also putting things together, but it's mainly a supporting role compared to practicality of it all. Again, difference between adding a little bit of spice to your dish and also and also dousing a bunch of sauce. You can't really tell what you're really eating. And heck, even little details, as I appreciate, like how in Times Square here like the CRT monitors and the 60s plus placements for like the Pop Tarts and Canada Dry and 7 Up, things like that. And oh yes, I mean, I'm not sure I'll be able to try I like the fantastic four flavor pizza, but I definitely want to find out what flavors are in like the Fantastic Four or tarts. I'll say that much. Hmm. I mean, they've been trying to make this work for decades now, and it turns out like the way they crack the code, sometimes the simplest path forward is actually the best one. Instead of trying to alter the source material in some bizarre way, wholeheartedly embracing it is the way to go. I mean, like everything from like the super suits to like the very space age design, the Fantastic Car, or it's definitely all comes together. And yes, I think Lean Simulators, the Incredibles films, was the right way to go. Even having Michael Giacchino scoring the movie as well, who I've also liked a long time personally, and I definitely think this is the one constant that between this and Superman I've enjoyed, where you make an interesting case study about when you'd hand two different studios and filmmakers the same prompt, which is make an homage to the comic storylines of the Gold and Silver age through a modern age lens. Like there's something they would make in that time frame if they had technology we do now, and I definitely I'm looking forward to seeing what these characters will be able to do in the future. Like whichever ever happens next for these characters, I'm glad to say that this is my the last one I'm seeing this summer that just got released, and alongside I definitely enjoyed my list of my favorites alongside Elio and Superman, both of which I would not just seen again if given the opportunity, and I think you should too. My final rating is a fantastic 4 out of 4, and if you're so inclined, 5 out of 5. So that'll be all for now, and I will definitely see you all again very soon. So take care, everyone. Mm-hmm.